All Indiana Politics is your premier source for Indiana politics, focusing on issues that matter to you.
I still want us to be the best in the Midwest.
We can't afford another lockdown.
Give the citizens of this country the relief they need.
Education in the state of Indiana remains priority number one.
In-depth, nonpartisan coverage.
We don't know exactly where the economy will be in January.
People are worried with good reason.
Exclusive interviews with Indiana's political leaders.
We have the resources here in the state of Indiana to care for those who are in need.
Expert analysis on critical legislation.
We need to reform those laws.
This recovery is going to take some time.
We've got to anticipate that there'll be a budget shortfall.
From Wish TV, this is All Indiana Politics Podcast on the All Indiana Podcast Network.
I'm Garrett Bergquist, government reporter for Wish TV. Voters in Southport will decide on their next mayor in November. Southport is one of 4 excluded municipalities in Marion County. Independent candidate Heather Newport, who's currently a member of the city's redevelopment commission, is challenging incumbent Mayor Jim Cooney. With us now is Heather Newport. Heather, thank you for coming in today.
Thanks for having me.
Why are you running for mayor of Southport?
So I moved to Southport about 20 years ago, and when I moved there, I joked, hey, maybe someday I'll run for mayor. And it really was a joke at that time. And then during the pandemic, I got more involved in politics in Southport, started going to city council meetings. About 2 years ago, I joined the redevelopment commission, and I realized that there were some things going on in Southport that I wasn't happy with, and I felt like if I really wanted to make a change, running for mayor was the way to do it.
You're running as an independent. There are only about 20 or so mayoral candidates running as independents this cycle. Why did you choose to do that?
So in Indiana, your party affiliation is really set by how you vote in the primary. And when I looked at my voting record, I'm really split. Sometimes I vote Republican, sometimes I vote Democrat. I really vote for the person, not for the party. And I felt the best way to represent Southport was to run as an independent, because that's really where my views are. And I also feel like the role of mayor of Southport is to serve everyone in the community, regardless of what your political affiliation is.
You've said Southport's leaders need to have a community-first mindset. What do you mean by that?
I really feel like, Southport is a very small community. It's a unique situation with the city within a city. There are about 2,000 residents, about 750 homes. And in that community, we have a wide range of ages. We have a wide range of demographics, really. And I feel like the current administration is catering to a very small subset of the population. And what I really want to do is I want to see the boards in Southport, the commissions, all be more diverse. I want to see representation. I think that matters. I think, we have a larger population of Burmese in Southport, and we have no one who represents them. I want to see those people be represented in those committees as well.
Southport, as you alluded to, is landlocked and has less than 1 square mile of land to work with. How do you work around that in terms of economic development and then also maintaining affordable housing?
Because a lot of the homes in Southport are older homes, they're grandfathered in for property taxes and they have different caps on them. And so we don't have a lot of money coming into the city. I think that is a big challenge, because one of the things that we do have that's fantastic in Southport is our police force. And one of the challenges we're having now is how do we continue to get good people and retain top talent on that police force with the budget that we currently have. And that's something that I'm really interested in getting into, is looking at the budget and seeing how we can rearrange money, see what opportunities we have for economic development, and go from there.
Since you brought up the police department, how does Southport deal with the risk of crime spilling over from Indianapolis?
Yeah, it's a very real concern, and Southport has been very lucky that we're insulated. You said we're less than 1 square mile, and we really have been insulated from those from that crime spilling over from Indianapolis. And one of the main reasons is our chief of police. Chief Vaughn is fantastic. And what he does is he goes out into the community and he meets with other law enforcement agencies, and he really tries to develop a partnership with them so that we're all working together.
Southport PD has far more radio frequencies assigned to it than it has officers. How long would that go on, especially if you were to be elected mayor? And how does the city pay for the insurance and all that extra equipment?
Yeah, so the city, like I said, doesn't have a lot of money coming in. And one of the things that we need to look at is what do those revenue streams look like and how do we get more? To be honest, at this point, I don't know. I don't know how long it'll go on because I need to get in there and I need to really understand why it's happening before I can tell you how it's going to be fixed.
Given the small size of Southport, does it need a police department? Is this a situation where you might need to end up turning some of those responsibilities over to IMPD? I
don't think so. I don't think we should be turning them over. Let me clarify. I think Southport very much needs to have a police force. Like I said, we are working with other police forces. Homecroft is very close to Southport, and that's one that we work very closely with. It's not a huge force, but I think that it really does a good job of keeping Southport safe.
I want to go back to the economic development issue for just a minute. You mentioned trying to bring in more economic development, try to improve the tax revenue situation. Anything in particular you want to really target in that arena?
Well, one of the things that I'm really excited about is that as part of the Redevelopment Commission, we are bringing an apartment complex to an undeveloped area in Southport, and the groundbreaking for that should be in the next couple of weeks. When I came onto the board about 18 months ago, this was our goal, was to get this land developed. It's been sitting empty for about 10 years, and that is a role. The Redevelopment Commission is 5 individuals, not including the mayor. So the mayor is not a part of that board, and they determine what the economic redevelopment of Southport is. So obviously the mayor has influence in that, but is not a voting member. So we did vote last year to bring an apartment complex to that space. I think it's going to be about 96 units, 4-story, beautiful building. And it has an opportunity to have retail space at the bottom. It's not going to have that initially, but it does have that growth plan in place. So obviously more residents coming in allows us to reevaluate the situation in Southport and look for more economic development opportunities.
What's one issue you think is not getting enough attention in this race?
Well, I don't think any issues are getting attention in this race right now. But I think really the focus on community. Southport has this really unique opportunity because we are a city within a city, that we benefit from being part of Indianapolis, but we also benefit from being somewhat autonomous. And I don't think that, like I mentioned before, representation is being focused on in this race. I think there has been a target of talking to the 5 or 6 families that are actively involved in the community and not a lot of outreach to other individuals.
What makes you the best choice for this job?
I think that I have diversity of thought. I think that I come from a point of inclusion where I really want to make Southport the kind of community where neighbors help neighbors, everyone knows each other. I'm not going to say everyone gets along. That's never going to happen, to where everybody sees eye to eye. But I want it to be a situation where if I see something suspicious at my neighbor's house, I'm going to investigate it. I'm not going to look at it and say that's not my problem. And I want my neighbor to do the same.
Heather Newport, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Early voting begins on October 11th, and Election Day is set for November 7th. And as a reminder, you can catch All Indiana Politics every Sunday morning at 9:30 on Wish TV. I'm Garrett Bergquist. Thanks for listening.
From Wish TV, this is All Indiana Politics Podcast on the All Indiana Podcast Network. Watch All Indiana Politics live Sunday mornings at 9:30 on Wish TV and at wishtv.com. Subscribe to this podcast and listen weekly here on the All Indiana Podcast Network. And be sure to discover even more great podcasts at allindianapodcastnetwork.com.